Hi, and welcome to your grade 2 course. I'm Claire of Target Maths, and I will be supporting you through all of the sessions. So we've got a lot of topics that we're going to get through. They're going to be introduced gradually. If you were to look at a grade 2 list of topics, then we're not literally ticking everything off. I've specifically chosen the topics that students find most difficult to retain. Okay, and that might be because the maths itself is tricky, or it might be because the language is tricky. It's really, really easy for students to get muddled between their multiples and factors, or their mode, medians, and range. So we want to address that as well as develop our skills. If you watch the introduction to the courses video, then you've probably already got an idea of how this is going to work. One of the things that I will mention, however, is that you do need to be really actively involved in this. Okay, you need to see this as it is. It's a lesson. Okay, and you need to pause, make notes. I might not tell you to do it. You need to be thinking for yourself. I try as much as I can to encourage it. There's loads of have a go questions, and that's when you really do need to be actively involved. It doesn't matter if you make mistakes. That's what happens when you're learning. So even if I'm giving you something that you're not 100% certain of, go for it. No one's going to know the results. It's not even between you and I. It's literally just you. Okay. So please, like I say, do really make the most of this course. Throw yourself into it 100%. All right, so let's just get going. We're going to be looking at multiples of tens. I'm going to introduce this with the very basics to start off with, and then as the course develops, so will this skill. So we're going to be looking at it just integers today, and then we will move on to seeing it with decimals, and eventually we will be applying it to things like converting units. These are the types of questions that a lot of students don't like doing. Meters to centimeters, liters to milliliters, etc., etc. So the skill that we're about to learn now is all you need to help you with that type of question. And as I say, the course is designed to help you build your knowledge, build your confidence, rather than just chuck everything at you in one go. So let's have a little look at this. If we are going to do a nice simple question like 6 times 10, all right, we can work that out on our fingers, and 6 times 10 is 60. If I give you 6 times 100, I've got 6 lots of 100. That means I've got 600. Now, if I write down 6 times 1,000, you may have already started to spot the pattern. I want to explain the pattern. So what's happening is 6 times 1. So the maths with the numbers are happening, and the zeros are being ignored, basically. So 6 times 1 is 6, and then that ignored 0 is added on the end. Yeah, so 1 0 was added on the end. 6 times 1 is 6. 2 ignored zeros added on the end. So hopefully you've already worked out that that's got to be 6 with 3 zeros added on the end. And that is pretty much it when you are multiplying integers with multiples of 10. All right, these numbers here are your multiples of 10. So all I'm going to do is write a couple of have a go questions just to make sure that you are okay with this. I am going to actually extend this slightly because it lends itself to the extension. So we'll squeeze it in before we move on to division as well. So I'm going to write some questions that may feel different, look different, okay, and make you just sort of feel a little maybe uncomfortable. I'm not doing it on purpose, but I want you to just go for it. Trust in what I've just said, okay? So I want you to pause, have a go at all 3. If you do get really stuck, then press play and you'll hear me talk through the first one, and then maybe pause again at that point to try the next 2, okay? So have a go. All right, so 37 times 1 is 37. 1 times 37 is 37. I ignored 2 zeros, so I'm now going to add those on. Okay, 185 times 1. So 185 is my answer. 3 zeros were ignored, so we're going to add those on. And then 28 times 10, so 28 times 1 is 28, add the 0. So if you got those all correct, really well done. You're understanding this already. So I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to take it up a level because I think we can handle that. So this is the level that we're going to go to. Okay, we're staying with our integers, but we are no longer in multiples of 10. Now, based on what you've already seen, can you have a go at this? If you don't want to, just let the video play and I will talk it through. But why don't you just go for it and see what happens? So I'm not changing at all the principle here. I'm going to ignore the zeros and do the maths I can see. I've got 3 and 5. So 3 and 5. If I multiply them, 3 times 5 is 15. Then I can start thinking about the zeros I ignored. I ignored 1 over here and 1 over here. I ignored a total of 2 zeros. So I'm going to add those 2 zeros on. Okay, and that's it. That's the answer. And if that's what you did, really well done. If you weren't sure, it doesn't matter, does it? You've seen it now. So let's have another go. Let's do 70 times 200. Have a go at that question. Okay, 14 for the 7 times 2. And I ignored 3 zeros. So in goes the 3 zeros. Okay, so I'm going to just write you just a couple more now, just to make sure we're absolutely fine, so that we can then move on to our division. So let's have a little look. Let's do 50 times 600. 200 times 9,000 and 30 times 80. All right, pause the video, have a go at those 3 and press play when you are ready. Okay, so 5 times 6 is 30. Then add your zeros, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Really important that you don't count that as part of your 3. That was part of your 5 times 60. And that can sometimes cause a bit of a hiccup for some. So if that was you, just be really careful about that. You write and then you add on, okay? Okay, the next one is 2 times 9. 2 times 9 is 18. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got 5 zeros this time. So let's get those written in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that is a very big number, isn't it? Can you say that number? Have a go. Okay, that number is 1,800,000. If you got that right, super. Super, super. Okay, last one. 3 times 8. 3 times 8 is 24. And then I've got those 2 zeros that I add on the end. All right, so that's our first stage of this topic. Like I say, there's some extension opportunities that will come up as the sessions progress, and we're going to apply them. Let's have a look at our division then. It's going to be done in exactly the same way. So let's just write a random question down. It's still all connected to the zeros because we're working in these multiples of 10. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking at how many I've got that I'm dividing by and then crossing off by the same amount. So I had 1 0 here. I crossed 1 0 out. And then what's left is my answer. So I've got a 1, 8 and 2 zeros. So 1,800 is my answer. And that is it. That's the skill. That's the technique. Okay. So let's do 900 divided by 100. Okay. Have a go at that question. And you've got 2 zeros, cross 2 off. You don't have any left. The answer is just plain and simple 9. Okay, we'll do a couple more just to make sure we're absolutely fine with what we are doing. There you go. So pause your video and have a go at those questions for me. Okay, here we go. First one, 2 zeros, cross 2 zeros off. I've got 230. The next one, 1 0, cross 1 0 off, 470. Lots of zeros, can be a bit off-putting. Just make sure you're counting carefully. We've got 3 there, crossing off 3. Physically do that crossing off so you don't get into a muddle and accidentally keep any that you don't need. And that's the final answer, 1,850. All right, so there are multiples of 10. We're going to move on now to mode, median, and range. Now, I've selected this one because it is such a common topic for people to get into a pickle with. They're fine in their lessons. They can do the mode, the median, the range, and the mean. We're going to introduce the mean a little bit later down in the course, but it's definitely coming. Yeah, it's the language. The language is causing chaos for some students. So we're going to go through this. We're going to just remind ourselves of all the facts, all the details, and try and think as we're doing it about what links we can do, what we can actually try and use that will help us remember. Because if we haven't got that language really secure, it doesn't matter how good we are at the maths, we will not know what to do in the exam paper. Okay, so let's just get straight on with an example that explains everything, all right? So we're going to use the numbers 19, 14, 4, 19, and 5. And my first tip is just put them in order. Just put them in order. It doesn't matter if they're asking for mode or range or median, just do it. Make it your habit. Make it your, oh, this is an averages question. I'm going to stick them in order straight away. It actually makes all of the different 4, 5, 14 and 2 19s. It does actually make it easier to find everything, okay? Because you're not searching for it when they're in order. So the mode is the most common or the most frequent, the one that comes up the most. And we use that word most to help us describe mode, all right? And it's a really good one for making links because obviously they both start with that same sound, mode, most. So maybe that's a way that you could make the links that you need to make. And also by putting them in order, I'm not searching the whole list anymore. I can just see straight away, I've got 2 19s, they're side by side, they stand out, and they are the most common. So in this question, 19 is the mode. So if we start thinking about the median, okay, so we've got median. Median is the middle number. Now, this is where it's absolutely crucial to put them in order. But as I say, I really think it's a good habit, good practice to just do it. If they're not in order, you will not get the right answer. And it's one of the main reasons they jumble it all up, because if you don't put them in order, it doesn't matter if you remember to go boom, 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 boom. You're just going to be wrong. I'll show you what I mean. If I take the original list, cross off the first and the last, work my way in, it tells me that 4 is the number that comes into the middle of all those numbers. How can 4 be in the middle and be the smallest? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. All right, so you put them in order, then you do your crossing off, and then you can easily see the number that is in the middle of that data. The data is kind of spread out across a number line, okay, with the smallest being at 4 and the biggest being at 19. So we want to be in that middle section, okay. So we've got 14. Now, let me just talk about marks. In the exam, you will get 2 marks for finding the median, all right, or in most cases you do. One of those marks is coming from the fact that you know a method. You know to put them in order. You know you're going to cross them off. So that's your method. So that gets you your mark. And then this bit here, the 14, the final answer, is what you put on your dotted line and how you get your second mark. So if you are able to process that in your head and work out the median, okay, then yes, very clever. But if you don't put the effort in to show what's going on, you will only get 1 mark for putting that answer down. So please bear that in mind. Really, really important. And the range is another one like that. Method mark is really, really important. So I'll show you that when we get to it. Now, the range is the difference between the biggest and the smallest. Okay, it's and difference means take away. So the maths that we have to do is biggest take smallest. All right, so I'm just going to write that down. Biggest take smallest. And obviously, because we've put them in order, it's really easy, although we have crossed them off, so it's less easy, but it is really easy to locate. There's the last number, there's the first number. Okay, the last number is 19. The first or smallest number is 4, and 19 take away 4 is 15. So that is my range. Now, 19 take away 4 is a really easy sum to just do in your head, and quite often range questions are like that. So of course, it's really easy to just write your answer down. But if you don't show that, you will lose a mark. It feels really unfair to lose a mark when you clearly know how to get the answer, but it works like that. So we have to accept it. Write down 19 take away 4 to get 1 mark. Write your answer to get the second mark. So when it comes to remembering, obviously mode had that most, that say moo sound to it. Median is middle. I should have written this down when we were talking about it. So they've kind of got the MD in both parts. So I've got the M and the D, the M and the D, and it kind of makes that mid sound. I've got median, middle, mid. All right, so you may be able to use that as a connection. But as you can see, when it comes to the range, we don't quite have that kind of link, which makes that one a little bit harder for us to work out a way to remember it. So what I want you to do is to pause this now so that you can just make any notes that you want to make. And then when you're ready, press play for me. Okay, so I wanted to share something else with you that you may or may not have seen before. It's the Hey Diddle Diddle rhyme. And I can guarantee that the pupils that take the time to learn this, okay, do really, really well. They do remember it. Okay, I'm just going to move it across because the camera is in the way. All right, so yeah, take the time, learn this. You can actually search it on YouTube and you can sing along to it, but I really would highly recommend this being the way that you choose to remember it, because it just has everything in there. So if you want to pause and write that down, please do, and then we'll go back to doing some practice. Okay, so let's go back and do some practice questions. So our next question is going to be 19, 10, 4, 12, and 10. And I know that you've only seen it once, but please just pause and have a go at this. It doesn't matter if it goes wrong. More importantly, you're giving it a go, aren't you? So pause and try and do all 3 for me. Okay, so we should have put these in order. We've got 4, 10, 10, 12, and 19. So the mode is 10. They're side by side. They stand out as the most common number in that list. I'm going to do the range actually next, just so I have not already crossed the numbers off and they're easy for me to see. So I've got 19 and 4. So 19, take away 4, show that, really important, remember, and our answer is 15. So that's the range. And then median is where we're going to cross them off. They're already in order, so all I have to do is my crossing, there it is, number 10. And that's the mode, range, and median for that question. And if you got it right, fabulous, well done. Okay, we're going to do another one. This one's going to have a few more numbers, just because we haven't done a list with a lot of numbers yet, and we want to do that really so that we're practicing it properly, because you're more likely to see a longer list like this. So pause and have a go again at finding all 3. If you're not sure about anything, just go with your best guess. Don't panic and start hitting play and watching what's going to happen. Just go for it first, because it doesn't matter if you go wrong. It's how we learn. Okay. All right, so we need to get these in order, and because there is a few more in that list, it's really worth crossing off as you go so you don't miss any out. So the smallest number is 2. The next one is 3. I've got 8, and then I've got another 8 there. I've got 9. I've got 2 16s, so I can get those written down, and 20. Okay. Once I've got those in order, I can start writing my answers down. So mode. Now, this question I've done on purpose because 8 comes up twice and 16 comes up twice. So what do? All right. Now, the most common approach for making a decision on what to do is to write 16 as the answer. It's the biggest out of the 2, so it feels like the right thing to do. So most students are going to write 16, and if you did that, then you did what we would have expected. It is actually both of them. So the answer is 8 and 16. They both come up the most. So they are both the mode. All right. If you knew that, fabulous. Okay, we're going to do range. So our range is biggest, which is 20. Take away smallest, which is 2. And that's going to give me 18. I've got full marks because I showed my working out. And last but not least, let's look at the median. So I'm going to start the crossing off process with that, with that. Now, if I carry on crossing off, I've actually crossed all my numbers out. So I don't want to do that. So I stop with 2 numbers in the middle. Now, this is not like a mode. I can't write down the median as 8 and 9. There is 1 number in the middle. And when I'm left with 2 numbers after the crossing off, then it is the number that would sit slap bang between them. So the number between 8 and 9 is 8.5. That is the median for that data set. So that's just something to be mindful of. You can see I've written a harder data set that's posed a few extra problems. And yes, there was a chance that could have caused you to make some errors. That's the point. Okay, I want you to make mistakes so that you are learning all the time. If you didn't make any mistakes, then you are really strong in this topic. So well done. Okay, we're going to do one more before I leave you to do some practice. All right, so we're going to do 18, 12, 22, 21, 15, and 21. All right, pause and have a go at finding all 3 for me. Okay, I've got 12 and then 15. 18, got 21 coming up twice, and 22. So I've got them in order. Looking down the list, I can see 21 comes up the most, so the mode is 21. The range, looking at the end of the list, I've got 22. The first number in the list is 12. Biggest takes smallest. I'm getting 10 as my range. And then we'll do the median. So we're going to cross off that one with that one, that one with that one. Got 2 left in the middle, so I'm slap bang in the middle. And these 2 numbers have got a little bit, they've got a little bit between them, haven't they? And when that happens, it can sometimes be a little bit harder to see what that number is supposed to be. So this is a really nice, easy way to deal with that problem. You just write all the numbers between 18 and 21. So 18, 19, 20, 21. And then you start that crossing off process again. I've got 19 and 20, and now I can clearly see that it's 19.5 that's in the middle of 19 and 20. Another way of doing that is to just add and divide by 2. But if you haven't got a calculator, that can be quite a tricky piece of maths to do. Whereas actually just writing the list out and carrying on with a second row of crossing off is probably easier. Okay, so they're all the examples that we're going to do. What I'm going to leave you with are some practice questions. So you've got 5 there. I'm also going to scroll up the answers. And so what you need to do is just manage the video. Okay, so you'll pause it on these questions. When you're ready to mark, you'll press play. The answers will appear. And then you need to rewind to go back to the questions. I would strongly recommend that you only ever do a couple at the most before you start marking. You want to know it's going well. You don't want to do all 5 and then find that something was going wrong, okay? So that's how you'll manage the last part of this video. I will obviously see you in the next session. And well done for starting this course and, making certain that you're going to nail this grade 2 content. All right, so press pause and have a go at these. Here are the answers. Oh, I put them on a different page. There you go. There's the answers. All right, guys. See you next time.